Welcome back, everybody, to the Autism Exchange podcast, where we want to communicate and we want to collaborate. We want to have fun and we want to host real conversation, real talk that's really relatable. Janice Crimp, I'm sorry. Nope, poor introduction right there. Super
No, great
Janice,
introduction. Thank
Super
you.
Janice, how are you today?
I'm really, really well. Thank you so much. You always have such great introductions, independent of what it is that you name me for the episode. But thank you. Thank you for that. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I'm glad you're
Um,
doing well.
yes. How are you doing?
Good, very good. W- well, thankfully, it's not been 2 whole weeks since I've seen you, like the
Yes.
last gap. So there
Yeah. Let's
are
never do that again. Let's
yeah, that
never
was
do
not
that
cool.
again. Yeah.
That wasn't cool.
I didn't like that. No.
But there's still cool things that happen that in this shorter amount of time since we've seen each other that I'm like, "Oh, can't wait to tell Janice about this." One of which is way out of left field, but we had a bear at our house.
Oh my gosh. No kidding.
Yeah. No, it was awesome. It was so cool. Like, I'm really excited.
Wow.
We've lived there for a
Wow.
few years on the farm now, and, people tell you, "Oh, there's black bear around, there's elk around," and I'm an outdoors person,
Yep.
and I know you vegetarians don't love it, but I'm a hunter. But, um, so I spend a lot of time in the woods, and, I run trail cameras and all that sort of
Mhm.
thing, and, I've just it's one of those not really a bucket list thing, but, like, I want to see the more rare stuff. You see
Yeah.
deer all the
Yeah.
time, raccoons all the time, but so yesterday, it was random, I don't know why I chose to do it, but I had, like, a 5-second gap at work, and I just opened this app, and it's a cellular camera, so it sends the pictures to your phone. So I opened the app and refreshed the thing, and I saw it's on this little thumbnail picture at first, and I saw this big black ball, and I immediately was like, "Please be a bear, please be a bear, please be a bear, please be a bear." So,
Wow.
clicked on the picture, and then it took forever to load, it felt like, 'cause I was just dying for it to be a bear. Open it, and it's this just giant black bear. It was the coolest thing, and,
That is amazing.
here's the funnier part, though, because I took a screenshot of that bear, it was 9:30 yesterday morning, it was right there, at the house. Well, I'll explain that. Anyway, so I send that picture to Kirsten, and I said, "There's a bear at the house," and I'm excited. She said, and I quote, "Oh, no." And
Yeah,
I'm like, "No, no, 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 no.
exactly.
Oh, yes." And she's like, "No, I'm" because, the
It's
boys
like,
we've
"Look,
talked
I've had snakes in the house. I do not want bears in the house.
I forgot about
Absolutely
that,
not."
yeah. Good
Yeah.
point. Good point. So she said, "No, we've talked about having the boys wanna ride in the quote unquote jungle. PJ
Mhm.
and Levi wanna get in the little side by side and go." Kirsten said, "How can I ever take them back in the woods by myself?" I said, "It's not gonna, like, chase you and maul you. It's scared of you anyway." All that to say, I requested this app to download the video of the bear because every picture it takes, you can get a 30-second video. But when
Oh,
it does
that's really
that,
cool.
it won't send you the video until something else triggers the camera.
Okay.
So it, like, refreshes it to update you. So I said, I'm sitting here like, "Kirsten, run up there and run in front of the camera real quick," after she just got done telling me adamantly how scared she was. Anyways, isn't that cool?
She is I gotta say, you have an amazing partner right there that she's like, "All right, fine, I'll drop whatever I'm doing and go and wave my arms in front of the camera
Oh,
in hopes
no.
that that
Oh, no, no, no,
tricks the
no.
camera for the bear." No way.
Mm-mm. It did not happen. No.
Oh, it did not happen. Oh,
No.
okay.
So
But she
last
probably
night
considered it.
no, absolutely not, Super Janice. Absolutely not. Uh, then last night when I got home, it was kinda late, but I went to do the barn chores, and it wasn't dark, but, it's dusky, and
Mhm.
I was just so determined to go back there and trigger the camera because nothing else
Oh,
had done so. So I ran back there, made sure to get in front of the camera and dance, um, and then it just occurred to me, like, that there was a big old bear, like, right here this morning, so look around, you know what I mean? So I'm just, like, kicking dirt, moving leaves, looking around. I wanted to find a track so I could get that cool paw print thing,
Yeah,
but,
yeah, yeah.
uh, I couldn't find one, and it was a little bit more eerie than I expected it to be. The sun going down and you knew there was a bear there, like,
Yeah, that
6
sounds
hours
like a
ago.
movie set, like,
Yeah.
yeah, that does. That's pretty but it is pretty cool, I gotta say.
No, it was beautiful, and I just sent you the video.
Oh,
so
okay. I'll look
you
for
can
that.
take a peek
Yeah.
at it. Yeah, anyway, that completely unrelated to anything, but I was just super excited. I showed everybody that I encountered yesterday the picture of the bear. I'm like, "Hey, did I show you the bear yet?" They're like, "Yeah, you showed me 3 times."
I showed you that 3 times. Well, you know what? I have a sort of related story-ish. I was at, like those rental Airbnb, places
Mhm.
in Western North Carolina, and it was, me and my friends and, like, our kids. I think there were, like, 4 kids or something, and, we were just going about our business in the house, and I think one of the kids had just, they're outside playing catch. I don't know. They were doing something outside, and they came in, and, like, 2 minutes later, there's a baby bear cub, um, at the window, on the porch, and then standing at the door, looking through the door like, "Hey, what are you all doing?" And
Oh,
we thought
no.
that was, like, the coolest thing, and isn't that interesting, blah, blah, and we were, like, looking and taking 500 pictures, and then we realized, I don't know who it dawned on first, but, like, if there's a baby bear, there's likely a mama bear, and a mama
Mhm.
bear is not gonna just, like, knock on the door and say, "Hi, everyone." Like, a
Yeah.
mama bear's gonna come in and
Thanks
be
for
a little more forceful. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, it was really, like, I don't think I registered how scary and dangerous that could have been. But it was really cool, and I've got all these pictures, and they're super adorable, so it
Oh,
makes
yeah.
you wanna invite them in, but you know you can't. I mean, obviously, I know that I can't, but it was just really super
"Come
cute.
here, little buddy. Come here.
Yes, exactly.
Come to
"You
Super Janice.
you want a banana?" I don't know.
You
I don't
want
even know
belly
what I
rub."
would eat.
Dude,
Probably a
there's no way
hamburger or
to
something. Yeah. And
hamburger.
then I have one more nature story for you. I
Okay.
lived in, Wyoming for several years,
Yeah.
and, right in Jackson Hole, which was totally cool, and, one night I had a dog, and one night the dog just started going crazy and, like, barking at the window, and so, it's a small town. I wasn't expecting any riffraff or anything, and so I go over, and there in I unbelievably was an elk. It was, like,
Oh.
4 feet away from my window, and I have to tell you, they are huge, and
Oh,
their
yeah.
legs are, like, 6 feet long. I mean, I guess it's so they can walk in the snow and, whatnot, but it was ginormous. It was so big, and I'd never seen an elk up close, and I lived in Jackson Hole, so you see the elk range, and you see them in herds all the time, but to see it literally 4 or 5 feet from your window was one of the most awesome sights. I'll never forget it. I mean, obviously, I'll never forget it. That was, like, 25 years ago or something.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was really, really, really
They're
cool.
so beautiful, and
Mm,
just the antler size of a bull elk is just
mhm.
unbelievable. They're huge. You're talking about 6 feet legs. Those antlers, you wonder how they even hold them up, their
Yeah,
neck must be
yeah,
tired. There was,
yeah.
well, there is actually in Eastern Kentucky, there was slash is this movement to improve the elk herd, um, and they, I think, even choppered some elk in, and they had these whole big political things to do it. Uh, but there were actually, and we're South Central Kentucky, so we're not really east where we are. But just a couple years ago, they started popping up. So you would see a cow elk, and then somebody showed me a picture from a trail camera from my property before we had it that had a bull elk on it, and he was huge.
Oh,
So I don't know,
wow.
the authenticity of something like that because you can't tell in the picture where
Yeah,
whatever, but, I trust the people that showed me.
yeah,
Anyway, so
yep.
one more thing on wild animals,
Mhm.
maybe 2, and I'll be quick. There
Okay.
was I don't how is this relevant at all? I feel like this is the Michael show now, talking about all my favorite things. Uh, there there's a, like, chronic wasting disease, CWD, that deer, elk can get, and it
Okay.
basically turns them into little zombies where they're not scared of people, they stop eating, and then they just wander around aimlessly, and they look very calm and tame, and then they die. Um,
Oh,
so
wow.
if you
That's
see
great.
one, you report it to Kentucky Fish and Wildlife, and, it's a big deal. You can't take things across state lines after you harvest an animal, whatever. There was an elk that apparently had chronic wasting disease, or EHD is another one. I can't remember which of the 2 diseases it is. Maybe I'll get that wrong like I did the tuba and trumpet. Um, but
I'm sure Ohio State is in there somewhere. But they
yeah,
have a
probably.
research lab, but
Yeah. So, anyway, the Fish and Wildlife came out, shot it, and then just left it, and, like, left. and left the animal laying there, and you know what? I don't know how this disease transmits, but I think it's eating
Yeah,
from communal food plots, after each other, and what if
yeah,
something eats that animal, you know? So now I'm like, "Oh, here comes the raccoon zombies next." You ju you know,
yeah. No,
whatever's gonna
that's
break.
I'm surprised that they didn't, like, dispose of it or
Yeah,
do
or set it on fire or
something.
something. Like, you
Yeah,
gotta think
yeah.
there's a disease in there.
Wow.
Yeah, anyway, I digress.
Okay.
I did mention the
Alright.
trumpet.
Yeah. Oh, Michael, I wonder, this is a throwback Thursday, if they could send it to, what is it, Denmark or the Netherlands?
If they could what?
Send it to the Netherlands or Denmark? Where were they sending animals to euthanize them? It was a long time ago, but I'm
Uh,
remembering, I'm like, I mean, an elk or a bear is kind of like a big transport, but, just wondering. I mean, it's disease, so it can't be disease. I think that was the point of that, is that it had
yeah, it
to
has to
be, like, healthy. So,
I
anyway, never
forgot
mind.
all about that. How wild was that?
Mm, yeah,
Hey, speaking of Throwback Thursday, I did mention
mm,
tuba and trumpet, and,
yeah.
Kirsten had some rapid fire corrections for me. It would take me a
Oh,
minute to find the text to give them to you, but the 2 off the top of my head, Mamaw is 97 years old now.
okay.
I think I
Oh,
said,
wow.
like, 94.
Mhm.
And then it was not a military service. They just liked the trumpet, and it was a trumpet, not a tuba. So, apparently, and I think I can this is not a verbatim quote, but I can generally quote Kirsten that the person playing the tuba thought he was just a really or tuba, trumpet, thought he was a really good trumpet player. So,
Uh-huh. Okay.
uh
Alright.
so maybe I
Got
feel
it,
a little bit
got it.
less small after the whole taps
Mhm.
assumption, but yeah, I was definitely
Yeah.
wrong about that. So,
No,
um,
you're gaining some ground. You're
yeah, no, I
definitely
feel like a
gaining
better
some
human
ground.
today.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
so,
I do
tell
think,
us
Kristen should listen to this and then just be on real-time fact checking, though. I think that might be important.
there needs to be a fact check
Yeah,
button.
yeah.
And you can see that none of it's intentional, it's just my brain. I
Oh,
forget
no, it's
things in,
fine,
like, 5
yeah.
minutes, and then I think
You're
somehow my
not
brain tends to make it funnier somehow, and then I think somewhere deep in my brain, there's just this little thing that's like, "This would be so much better if I create this memory as a tuba instead of a trumpet." So and they just pull some switches.
right. Point taken. I mean, I gotta say, it was a lot funnier as a tuba, and,
Yeah,
I'm
I
glad
agree.
we corrected it, but I do think tuba hit the mark. I totally get that.
It would have been cool. What other instruments would have been funnier than a tuba out there? What do you think?
Um, uh, a clarinet, like a little jazzy number. Doing
Yeah,
a little jazzy number.
yeah.
Or
I'm trying to think too.
ukulele, like a little ukulele, like,
I would have to
doing
say
a little
probably a steel drum.
st
That one would be unusual, wouldn't it?
It would. It really
Uh,
would.
okay.
It
You wanna introduce what we're doing today?
Yeah, well, so we were talking right before we sort of, turned on all the equipment. And we've had train fires or dumpster fires, and we've had train wrecks, and we've had sideways conversations. We've talked about all kinds of things and ended up in places we never planned to. And so we were sort of processing, I guess, what our last episode was. And I was saying how it was, we talk about sort of being, autism adjacent sometimes, like just, sitting next to someone we know who's going through sort of the autism experience in whatever way that they're experiencing it. And I thought, and then you and I started talking, and I think that that conversation was, is it was encompassing so many things that were fun and interesting, I thought. I think you thought too. And
Yeah,
there was some autism conversation in there, but as we just talked about it now, it was sort of like, this is autism too. People who have autism in their family, they're also people. They're also people who have a sense of humor. They experience other things in life. They have other, um, different things in their day that, are related or unrelated. And so when we had our last podcast and our last conversation, I I was kind of panicking, like, "Oh my gosh, where is this going? I don't have notes." And then I realized afterwards, and I listened to it like 30 times, by the way, that 30 of those times of listening were me. And, but, like, it was really just sort of thinking of we talked about, I think a while ago, autism as being a sphere rather than this linear line of a spectrum. It's sort of like more of a sphere. And I feel
Uh-huh.
like our conversations sometimes encompass all of that for people who not just a person on the spectrum, but for the families and the parents and the siblings and the grandparents and the clinicians, that it's all a sphere. Like
Yeah.
we're all people. We're all sort of in this together, and there's all different facets. So that made me feel a little bit better about sort of talking about
I have a lot of
funerals, like a lot about funerals that I don't understand. And yeah, okay, go ahead.
I have a lot of thoughts on that.
Okay.
The first one, I'll start kind of at the bird's eye view and then narrow it
Mm,
down as quickly as I can. My first thought is that how funny it is because of our personalities, like the way you are and the way I am. I think most of the time we're a pretty even balance on these
mhm,
episodes, right? So we get me doing me things and then you doing you things, and it's this pretty healthy balance that we might lean a little bit too far in one direction, but then we, kind of merge back into the middle.
mhm.
The last episode, just for listener understanding, was 1000% Michael leaning. And it was super, you know, it was super
It was
fun for
awesome.
me.
It
Yeah,
was
it was
awesome.
fun. Like if we've often said this about other people. I wish I could just be in their brain for like 5 minutes.
Mhm.
Y'all were in my brain for an hour because that's the way it goes. It's everywhere, it's rapid, it's borderline inappropriate humor, and but here's the thing, and this is where I wanna dive a little deeper. It's life, it's real,
Yeah,
it's who I am, and I don't expect everybody to be like me. I don't, expect myself to be like everybody else. I do, though, take pride in I am who I am, and sometimes there's a take it or leave it component to that depending on your crowd, but everybody in my life, everybody in my friend circle, everybody in my work circle, we understand and respect each other. And it's never that one is better than the other, but it's just like, this is me. And I need a place in life where I don't have to be professional. I don't have to be stressed. I don't have to be studying autism. I don't have to be thinking about, am I doing enough for my family or for PJ? I just need a place to, release, to have an outlet. And
yeah. Yep,
the third point to that is I'm a parent of a child with autism, but I take great joy in finding those moments where you can goof and laugh and cry and yeah, happy cry um,
mhm,
about things other than autism because it's like you said. I mean, autism is a part of life, but it also isn't everything in life. It doesn't solely define you, and it's more like you wear glasses. Okay, cool. All right, now we're not going to talk about glasses every time I see you. Oh, hey, what color are your glasses today? That gets old, and so
yeah, yeah,
sometimes I think it's important to take the opportunities, and I mean, there's like everything else, there's always a line that you can cross. And I think that's where you were like with the hot dog thing, and that cracked me up. You're like, all right, anyways, zoop, talking about something else. You're like, because I didn't, it all came out of left field. I don't know where it came from either. That's how my brain works. But uh, it was, I don't know, all of that to say, I think that last episode was really awesome, and, obviously, I don't even wanna say this because at this point it's so obvious, but, um, if, if anything in that was offensive, y'all know that we're just having fun, and we do this out of love, and there's never an intention to hurt anybody, so, um
right. Oh gosh,
that
no.
that
No,
shouldn't
no,
even
no.
be. I feel like we shouldn't even have to say it. It almost irritates me to say it, but it's the truth. Like, we don't y'all know as well enough anyway, so that was
No,
pretty cool.
I think I feel like when we're talking, there's, like, your experience with autism as a dad, as a clinician, as a human, as a guy. I think you said a guy with a hairy face when you're talking about the woman in the supermarket.
Yeah,
I think,
yeah.
yeah, like, like all these different hats that you wear, right? And then I have different hats too, and everybody does. And I don't really think I hope that people, wouldn't be offended by something that we would say because you can always take a soundbite and take it out of context, but I think that hopefully by now people have been listening long enough to know who we are and what we're bringing, and that it is in no way like, judgmental or, snarky. It's just meant to be fun. And yeah, so the last episode, I thought a lot about, and I realized, I need a little more of that. I also need notes. I can't fly without notes.
That's a
But
big takeaway.
that was a big takeaway for me. Not that I have to use them, but it's nice just in case. But yeah, so it was good, and it just made me think about sort of the broader, who we are outside of this one sort of hat that we wear, and so yeah. So anyway, so it was fun, and I loved it, and I hope people listen to it and get a smile from it the way that we did when we were literally as we were making it,
Oh,
and as
yeah.
we were recording it. So yeah, yeah, yeah.
I was I don't know if Kirsten intends to take any of the clips from that video-wise, but she's gonna have to choose carefully because a lot of them I was like the color purple. Just I couldn't breathe, I was laughing, and it was so much fun. I loved it. Anyway, so that was cool.
Yeah.
We talked about, kind of foreshadowed last time at the end of that one that we wanted to do a little autism in the news. How you feel about
Mhm.
that?
Good, good, yeah, and there's
Should you
one thing that I wanna mention at the end, that we can talk about of like a swag giveaway sort of thing, so let's leave time at the
Yeah.
end to talk about
Okay, well, I'm glad you said what it was because 'cause I'm like, "Oh,
that.
shoot, I'm in trouble. She's saving something till the
Mhm.
end. I'm toast."
No.
Um,
No.
that's like when you quit somewhere, you don't do it until 5 o'clock in the evening so
Right,
that you didn't get out.
exactly.
I just got called to the principal's office, so I'm dreading that,
Yeah,
but,
and it
yeah,
sits with you the
kids.
entire day, and, it's like when someone said, this is going on your permanent record," and the dread of what that meant. Nobody knew there was no permanent record, but there was
No,
like,
they just make it up. It's a
they
manila
just
folder.
make it out. Yes, and, if it's even I've never seen it. It doesn't there is none, but
No.
man, the threat of that growing up is like, "This is gonna go on your permanent record." Like, it was such a
Oh,
yeah,
I'm
yeah,
tarnished. Okay.
yeah.
So yeah, autism in the news. We'll do that, and then you can do your punishment for me at the end.
What a
The
punishment.
autism in the news thing. I'm just going to quickly recap. What we want to do is we just want to recognize places in news and media that autism shows itself or pops up. Sometimes it's accurate portrayals, sometimes it's inaccurate, sometimes it's good news, sometimes it's bad news. Janice and I want to be clear that we don't offer opinion on any of these things. Rather, we just throw them out there as though we're highlighting them and saying, "Here's the chapter. You guys can read the book." So, um, I have a few things, and frankly, most or all of them came from Kirsten because she's the bigger researcher. She's
Awesome.
more of the pop culture slash current news person, and I'm more of the watching bears on my trail camera person. So, uh,
Oh,
anyway,
good.
I'll go through them, and not all of them are great. But again, we're not passing judgment. We're just offering, here's what
Yeah,
happened. And so,
that's it.
um, all right, the first one is cool. This sounds very fun. Senate Bill A7363C, the
Mm,
Communication Bill of Rights. Is that a decent radio voice?
100%. Oh, yeah. Yeah,
Good.
that was great. What was it?
So,
Woodward? Anyway, go ahead. I'm trying to
okay.
think of the NPR legendary voice that had that, like, raspy, sort of, like, cigarette-laden voice, Anyway, go ahead.
I don't smoke, but I
Sorry.
can try. Senate
No, no.
Bill A7363. Okay, I digress. New York Assembly Bill A7363C is, quote, "a communication bill of rights that legally protects the right of individuals with disabilities to communicate in their preferred manner and use communication supports of their choice, including alternative techniques like spelling and typing." So this is pretty cool, and I'm not gonna read everything. It's obviously a Senate bill, which is about, like, watching grass grow or paint
Mhm.
dry. Um, but I will say that there are some highlighted things in the bill's key provisions, which would include preference protection, so that I love this part. Facilities, schools, and state funded programs, it prohibits them from restricting or banning an individual's choosing communication method, unless there are legitimate medical or safety concerns, which I assume if I'm
Mhm.
like, oh, I only speak with a lighter, well, they're not going to let me in a paper factory. Um,
Right.
so, staff training requires direct support professionals, educators, and healthcare providers to undergo training in communication accommodations. Um, support access, ensures ongoing access to speech therapy, and requires at least one trained staff member to be available in every facility and school. It's big.
Wow.
And then there's the Communication Rights Advisory Board within the Office for People with Developmental Disabilities. So that's a cool one, I think. Um,
That's impressive. That's a huge shift.
yeah, I
That's
thought
a
so
big
too.
shift.
And
Yeah.
as with everything, I guess you could go either way, right? There was the peacock that somebody wanted to take on an airplane.
Yeah.
And it was the emotional support peacock. Well, maybe it is, and maybe it was, and it really was. That's what they called it. Maybe it was, or maybe it was a way to not have to pay the pet fee. I don't know, but
Right.
um, as with everything, I mean, I think you know, well, we're not offering opinion, but I can see both sides of this as I just read through that maybe a big win for the people who use alternative communication, and then maybe opportunity for some bad news to happen, if it's abused.
Yeah.
So, um,
Yeah.
anyway, seems like a big shift, like you said.
Yeah, it seems like a big shift. I wonder, what kinds of opportunities that will open up, for people who use, alternative communication, and, and that also then there's a lot there. That also makes me think of, a while ago we had talked about when you see, somebody in the grocery store, let's say, who has a
Uh,
disability, what do you do? What do you make eye contact? Do you not make eye, do you what? I mean, there's so many things, and it's hard to ask somebody because they can't
yeah.
speak themselves. You can't say like, oh, you have, cerebral palsy, what should we do when we see this happening? And that then takes we then understand that entire population. Obviously it's so individualized. But it makes me just think like that as a culture, we will need to shift how we see people
Mhm.
and how we regard people and how we um, just move about our day and see people in our day and how we regard them and acknowledge them and or not, I mean, that doesn't just because that's now available and part of the law, doesn't necessarily mean that overnight there's gonna be a shift in the way that people accept and acknowledge and regard them. It's very
Or the other side where it's how somebody sorry to interrupt you, but I would
yeah,
forget. The other side of that, how somebody wants to be,
yeah,
like,
yeah,
acknowledged, and maybe it's
right,
even less about how me thinking, "How am I supposed to talk to someone?" More so,
mhm,
how do they want me to, talk to them? It's
yeah,
that I
yeah.
I'd completely interrupted you there, but
No, but it's two-sided. We know, and so how do we facilitate that conversation, Like, I
yeah.
feel like um that's the next part of this. It's like, okay, the law is in place, but then the culture needs to catch up. And how do we go about having this conversation? And who advocates for whom? Who has which voices are speaking on behalf of either side or both? No,
Mhm.
not either side. I don't want to say it's in opposition. It's together. That they work together. We need to have those conversations that bridge that. But yeah, that's a really interesting one.
Yeah.
That's that's my bird's eye take of that. But yeah,
It's cool. And I think it signifies more awareness and advocacy, so, that's a good thing in all
yeah.
circumstances.
Yes, yes.
The, last little point on that is that somewhere near us, it's not in our town, but somewhere near us, they did a static communication board, like,
Mhm.
on a relatively large sign. I'm talking about, like, 6 feet wide maybe, and they put it at a playground, and it has those classic pictures of communication device thing that have on them, and it's like swing, slide, jump, thirsty, hungry, go home, um, and they put it there, and it's static, it's not electronic, but kids
Yeah.
can walk up and touch the things that they want.
Oh,
And I
wow.
thought, what a neat way to and it's cheap and it's
Yeah.
kind and communities can do it. That it made me think of that. So that's cool. All right,
I
next.
love that. I'm just wanna like, that's one of those things that we talk about all the time is a language-rich environment, and I think last time we also talked about multimodality learning, where now we have different ways of, helping somebody access communication by using different modalities and senses. And that is such a great, inexpensive way to make that happen.
Mhm.
And how clever it was for somebody to do that and how easy it is to replicate that. So yeah, That's so cool. It's just thinking of ways, where else can we do that? Where else can we make that accessible to people so that, and to kids, maybe that would help at grocery stores. If we have those signs are relatively universal. So where else can we put them to just,
Mhm.
support people and support parents so they don't have to be lugging things around too. And just
Right.
knowing that this is at the grocery store, just like there's multiple languages, within the grocery store or wherever. So maybe we add this too. Maybe this is another language that we use as a is with visual communication.
Well, and then other kids are seeing it too, which is cool. Kids
Mhm.
that don't need it, they're
Yep.
seeing it.
Yep.
And that can't
Uh,
be bad either because it's
Yep.
more awareness.
Yeah,
All right.
it normalizes it. And one more thing then, Michael, then that also helps other kids be able to help other kids because they're growing up knowing that, oh, this is what I can do to help. That this tool is available. I know how to use this tool. Let me help my friend.
Mhm. Yeah.
So it doesn't have to just be the parents that are prompting the kids to use this. It can be peers that are also then involved in, helping support everybody. I love
Yeah.
that. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's cool. I think it is cool. And it's like we said, it's cheap. Everybody should do it.
Mhm.
All right. This one's a little sad.
Oh,
Um,
good.
and unfortunately, this was in an adjacent county to the one I live in. Um, 3 officers with the police department have been disciplined following an incident last week where officers reportedly slapped an autistic man who was already in custody. Body camera footage of the incident has been making the rounds on social media. London police arrested, not going to say the name, on several charges, including assaulting officers and resisting arrest. So, headline obviously, it sucks that it happened.
Mm,
It sounds like there's some justice and investigation being served in that. And why I wanted to bring it up was one, to say that's mean, that's wrong.
mm,
But two, um, to talk about there has been a huge effort, I think, both on the emergency services personnel side and on the advocating people with disabilities side to
mm,
work to train on certain things, or to even the products that you have a seatbelt cover that says, "Hey, I have autism," or, something like that. I think to make a positive out of a negative, there are still unfortunately situations like that. But as a whole, pretty nice that fire departments are now starting to work on, what do I do if there's an autistic person outside of a burning house, because that you could very easily end up in trouble
right.
if either side didn't know, maybe, you come at PJ and you've got a fire suit on, he's probably gonna run away from you. And then the
Yeah.
police go, "Why are you running away? Did you set the house on fire?" And so it could just be very
Yeah.
slippery, but,
Yeah.
um
Yeah. There are, companies that, make, like, little bracelets, and it was
Uh-huh,
interesting. We had met a woman a while ago who makes bracelets, and it says, one of them says, "I am autistic," and
uh,
then there's another where "I have autism," and then there's another one for the mom who says, "I have a son who is, has autism." And that way, if something happens to her, they know, "Oh, wait a second, there's somebody somewhere that might be looking for his mom or might be,
mhm,
needing assistance. Or if the, child is needing assistance, they know that has autism, and that's something that, might be a part of some of the behaviors or whatever it is that they're observing. And I thought that was
mhm,
really great. And when she was talking about that, I thought how thoughtful it was that she had a bracelet too. That it was, I'm with him and he's with me, and if we're separated, you need to know that the other half is somewhere, and that, that will help you help us stay safe. And
mhm.
I just thought that was something that, it's probably been out there for a while, but that was, I just thought great. I just
Yeah,
thought great.
and it also, kinda made me think of, I think it was in Kirsten's first episode with us that they were talking about, like, a bright yellow vest or something. Do you remember that? Vaguely? I
Yeah,
don't know, and then we talked about how maybe too much advocacy can happen, because what if you are the person with autism being forced to wear a big bright yellow thing that says, "I have autism"? What if they can't tell you that they don't want it? What
yeah,
if they can't tell you
yeah,
that, like, that's a thing for them? Um But in general, I think you can take a negative story and you can find positivity in it, and say that there is thankfully, there is an early shift into more training and more understanding, and that will hopefully keep these things from happening, ever again. So,
Yeah.
that's a sad one.
I think that's part of what we can do too is, Michael, when we have conversations with parents, we try to ask questions of them like, what do you want us to know? What do you want people to know? What do you want us to do? I think that's actually the best way to start getting at the conversation of what do you think your child would want to have happen? What would make them feel
Mm,
safe? What would make them feel like they were, getting what they needed? Like, otherwise we're not gonna know. Like, if there's, like, this great unknown of, how people want their child to be treated and how they think their child would want to be treated. So
mhm.
it's sort of like I think we need to get that conversation going every opportunity we can.
Yeah. Yep, and there's so many different perspectives and opinions and preferences that
Right.
that's where it gets difficult, but just because it's difficult doesn't mean you shouldn't try to kick it in the teeth. You can't knock it over if you don't start swinging. So, um,
Very good.
another one that's we're gonna kinda connect 2 dots with the negative ones, and then we'll have a maybe a more positive one, but this one is that in, the United States, there were 12 people left out of a yearbook in a high school. I believe it was a high school. I can't let me fact check that real quick because 'cause I'll just come back later. Yeah, high school yearbook. Um, all 12 of them were people with, disabilities, and
Oof.
the school defends themselves and say that it's accidental, and then
12
the
is
pe
a 12 is a big accident.
Yeah, I wasn't there, so I'm not
Uh,
passing judgment, but if there's smoke, there's fire, and I see an awful lot of smoke. One of the
mhm.
affected students says, quote, "I feel like an extinct animal because my presence is there. I made a difference, but there's no historical record of me."
Oh.
Yeah. So, um, this school's close to you. Um,
Oh.
Son called home very upset, and he said, "I'm coming home," which is very unlike him, and he said, "I'm not in it." It being the thing, the yearbook.
That's
S
enraging.
School said it
And
was inadvertent, and the error was attributed to an internal procedure. The affected students are expected to receive an updated yearbook. Yeah, that's great, but they don't deserve to have to get a second yearbook anyway, and I don't know.
That's kind of like, that's an asterisk, like, "Oh, you got a second yearbook." That's an
Yeah.
asterisk. Kind of like, in the Baseball Hall of Fame and, there are a couple of guys that had, like,
Hey.
asterisks in the fame because they were taking drugs or whatever. It's like, that's an asterisk. Like, that's
Yeah.
notable, that's different, that's not the thing. That's
Uh-huh.
yeah.
Who are those? Mark McGwire, Sammy Sosa, do they have asterisks? Does Barry Bonds have an asterisk? Pete
I
Rose
don't
was denied the Hall of Fame, I think.
he was. Pete Rose is A-Rod in there, or is he denied as well?
A-Rod, good question. I don't think I don't anyway.
Oh,
Um, we'll have to fact check that. Somebody'll do it. It ain't gonna be
mm.
Kirsten because it's sports. She don't want anything to do with
Right.
it. But yeah, that's just again, this is a story that, like, it happened. It's a part of life. It's unfortunate. I can't imagine one of those 12 people being PJ. Um, if it's accidental, okay, give somebody grace. Oh, my bad. But then at the same time, if there are 12 students with disabilities in that school and 12 of them were left out, hard to understand, But
Yep,
um, anyway, that's a part of life, unfortunately, and sometimes it sucks. But we can choose to give grace and have grace and give ourselves grace and move on. And that's kind of what you and I are all about, anyway, is trying to find. And Farha did the same thing. Like you can have a negative situation, but you can find the positive in it and celebrate that. So maybe
yeah.
we'll circle back someday to try to find something positive out of that. But maybe the whole thing is wrong. Maybe it was a legitimate accident and the copy machine didn't work on that page or something.
Right. We can go with some plausible, that's not plausible deniability, but, something.
So,
Yeah. It's a tough one because I think, yeah, you wanna find something positive and look for the bright side and, like, accept it, acknowledge it, and move on, but,
mhm.
there's still a little bit of anger there, and
Yeah.
I haven't figured out what to do with that anger that resides after you find the silver lining, I
Mhm.
mean? The storm
Right.
clouds still, has the potential for lightning, and so it's
Yep.
great to find the silver lining, but, that accumulates. That's not it doesn't just go away because you find, the positive in something, so that
You wanna
must
hear
be
sparkly, Michael?
Yes, yes,
Okay.
please.
There
We
could
need some
be
sparkling.
clouds, but where there's clouds, there could be lightning, but there could also be rainbows. Aw.
Oh my god.
Can
I
I never
I
do that again? Because I really don't like
I
sparkly,
was
Michael.
gonna say I was trying to think very rapidly of how to ask you to never do sparkles again.
Yeah, I
That's
don't like
just
sparklies.
that's no, sorry. Yeah, you're better as
It's
carbonated.
Yeah, here's fizzy, Michael. Sometimes it storms, sometimes there's naders, and sometimes there's rainbows. I don't know, depends on the day. Um,
That's better.
th that's fizzy, Michael.
Mm.
Last one from me is happier. Do you like
Okay.
Saturday Night Live?
I do. I like the British version better, but yes, go ahead.
Oh, yeah, yeah, we talked about that before, didn't we?
Yeah. Mhm.
Do you have an American SNL favorite skit, actor?
Um, Anything with Tina Fey and Amy
Yeah.
Poehler and yeah,
I think Colin
Paula
Jost
Ri
and uh, Colin Jost and who is it? It's not Mikey Day. Who's the guy that does that with the news
Michael
thing?
very close, Michael Che. Michael
Yeah,
Che.
Michael Che. That is hilarious, I think, too, because of
Mhm.
the stuff they make each other say. Well, somebody that you have not seen on Saturday Night Live, seen them hosting Saturday Night Live, is Tom Holland. Are you familiar with Tom Holland?
I am.
Yeah, so he describes himself as, quote, "heavily dyslexic,"
Mhm.
and that he has been, quote, "petrified," end quote, by the idea of reading cue cards on live TV, which is a core part of SNL. So,
Yeah.
let me read his quote real quick, and then I'll see what you think. Quote, "For me, I can read fine, but when I have to read out loud, it just becomes kind of it's like a mental block and I can freeze," he said. "I've been really lucky that they've asked me a few times to host SNL, and the truth is that I'm actually just really scared. I love the show, and I love the idea of having fun and making a fool of yourself in such a fun, creative way." I resonate with that right there. It's just
Mhm.
that thing of the cue cards, he said. Um,
Wow.
this one's happy, in my opinion. Um,
Yeah. Okay, let's hear.
I think you get somebody with notoriety, with a platform, with a stage, and it is I'm careful not to give my, like, my drill down opinion on Tom Holland, right? But from the surface, I think you get someone with such a big stage and they're being transparent and being real and saying, "I'm scared." That's a hard thing to say for anybody, let alone somebody
Yeah.
who's world famous. Saying I'm scared is vulnerable. But then I think also we always talk not just about autism, but other developmental disabilities and challenges, and dyslexia is really difficult. And uh, he's saying, "Yeah, I got this, and that's why I'm scared to do it. I would love to, but I can't." And I think that opens the door for more awareness and advocacy, but also for somebody to say, "Hey, you and I, Janice, we just got done talking about adaptive communication, didn't we?"
Mm.
So if it opens the door for somebody to go, "Hey, here's another way we could pull this off so we could have funny guy on, SNL."
Yeah. Yeah.
But I think that's neat. That's cool. I think it's
Yeah.
again, we're talking about a shift. There's a shift of more openness, and nobody's forced to be open, I don't think. It's not like a requirement to open yourself up,
Right.
but I thought that
No,
was cool. What do you think?
I think, yeah, I don't think anybody's required necessarily to sort of open themselves up, but I do think on the flip side, it should be a little more required for people to know what this is and people to know what
Mm,
dyslexia is and to know how, what to be sensitive to. I'm not saying everybody has to accommodate if they don't want to, like, it's fine. But as we're talking about workplaces and laws and things, but um, I just feel like some words and some diagnoses are thrown around and nobody really knows what they mean or really
mhm.
knows how to distinguish them. And that kinda aggravates me. And that
Yeah,
kind of, like, people throw around, "Oh, anxiety, depression, schizophrenia, bipolar, blah, 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 blah." Like, those things are massively different and present very, very differently, and I it dyslexia and a lot of learning disabilities, uh, I think are part of that, and people just use the terms and they don't know, and then they have all these, preconceptions and, misunderstandings. So I love that Tom Holland talked about it. I now wish that he would say, this is why it's hard for him, and this is what he has done in the past to try to help himself and address this, and what's been helpful maybe that he could share with other people. It's sort of like, I'm not saying he has to go and be a billboard for this, but just if he is giving interviews, so maybe we could start the dialogue there. Or
Yeah,
here,
so maybe
or here. Maybe
yeah.
maybe this is where
Tom
we
Holland.
start the dialogue too. Yeah,
"Hey, Tom, holler at us, buddy. Come on.
yeah.
We're here." Uh, and Janice is a film club person, so,
There you
she
go.
could
Mhm.
dichotomize. Maybe she'll drill. Maybe she'll absolutely drill and grill your movies. So if you hear this, come on, defend yourself. I'm kidding. Um, so yeah, Tom Holland, you need actually, we are running out of time, but
Yeah, they are.
you
Yeah.
need your I'm called to the principal's office, so
No, no, it's not called to the principal's office. Actually, I'm calling myself to the principal's office, and I'm calling the principal Kirsten. So I was thinking we have some swag that I think we should share with the listeners. And so
yep.
um we have a few different ideas that we're knocking around, and one of them is to have people write into our email address with either A, ideas for us to talk about and things that they want to share, or B, with a favorite episode or a favorite part of an episode. And then we can sort of like choose semi randomly as they're appropriate, and then read them on the air. And then we can sort of send out some swag as a thank you.
Yeah.
So yeah, so we have some ideas, and there's some cool swag. I'm going to keep that a secret until until the moment, but there's some cool stuff. And yeah, so we're going to be starting that hopefully next week.
Yeah, and, I think the younger kids, if anybody younger's listening, we call it drip.
Oh, drip? What does that mean? Drip?
I
It's not
think
drop? It's not
no
drop, it's drip?
no, I think drip is like your gear, like your clothes, like, that's some nice drip,
Oh,
I
okay.
think. Also,
Like, I thought uh-huh,
I had a kid here call me Unc.
unk. I don't know
Yeah.
what that is that like uncle? Like
It
short for
is,
uncle?
and it's also, like a diss, like a not
Oh,
good thing. Yeah,
not a
so
good thing. Oh, I
yeah,
would think
like I'm the lame uncle, basically.
oh, I thought uncles were supposed to be fun, like
Yeah.
funkle, like the fun
Funkle, yeah.
uncle. And
Maybe
I
next time
thought
somebody calls me Unk. Gosh, I gotta be careful. I'm saying a lot of F's and U's here.
be very
Unk.
careful. No, and I thought, like, a hat was a lid. I thought that was cool, and I thought sneakers were kicks. Is that not cool anymore? Is that, like, way, way,
Apparently
way
not.
back?
In the
Okay.
14-year-old that I had this conversation with multiple times in the
Yeah.
last few weeks at work, no. It's
Uh,
different, but anyway,
alright,
so
I
yeah,
gotta
guys, for
go
real,
work
Janice
on
is right.
okay.
Janice has designed and procured some really cool swag, and we want to share that, and it's kind of a thank you for listening and dealing with us and showing up every time, and we're super thankful to be where we are, and I just think it feels like a good point to remind everybody that we're not doing this for income or for notoriety or anything else. We literally just, first of all, have a lot of fun. Second of all, I think it scratches an itch that both of us have to shape things away from such a serious, medical model of autism and adjacent things, developmental disabilities, and prove that there's just fun, and by asking questions and having grace and giving grace and loving people, that big things can come out of it. So we're very thankful for every listener, every click, every subscription, everything, and we just want to try to give back. So I do think it's going to be fun to have some questions submitted and favorite parts submitted. Like Janice said, we may or may not read them all on the record because Michael's involved in this, and you never know what's coming out of my mouth. So maybe I don't need to be reminded of some of it. But guys, we are going to wrap up.
Yep.
Um, this has been the Autism Exchange podcast, where we want to communicate and we want to collaborate. We want to have real talk that's really relatable. And along the way, we're going to have a lot of fun. Thank you for joining us. You can find us on Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, Spotify, Amazon Music. What am I missing? iHeartRadio. I said a lot. You can find us wherever you listen to your
Yes,
favorite
yeah,
podcast.
yeah.
Please like, please subscribe. Give us feedback. And the email Janice referenced was info info.autismexchange@gmail.com. This has been the Autism Exchange podcast for Janis Krimpa. I am Michael Coldiron.
Bye. Thanks, Michael.
Yeah, it's fun.
That was good. That was very nice. We're back on track, but I like being off track too. Off track is fun.
On track is fun?
Off track is fun.
That was off track?
No. I think both on and off track is fun. And I probably wouldn't have said that before I met you.
Fair.